بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وبالقاسم محمد أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يبتغ غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, we are approaching those nights which are associated with Maulana Muttaqiyan, Amir al-Mu'minan, Yasubuddin, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Inshallah, in these few majalis that we have, while we are also going through the nights of Qadr, the nights of power, we will continue with the discussions that we've been having around Quran, because the night is associated with Quran Natiq, and we've been having discussion in regards to Quran Samit. And inshallah, something as far as the lessons that we can derive from the life of Maulana Muttaqiyan as well, which are relevant and pertaining to our daily lives. The verse that I recited is from Surah Al-Imran, verse number 85, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever adheres to a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And indeed, that person will be counted among khasireen, losers, on the day of judgment. The way we translate this so that we can have a taqarrub al-dhahni, to bring it closer to our minds, to understand the meaning of this verse. Yes, indeed, Islam is not going to emphasize, or Islam is not going to enforce the religion onto anyone, like raha fid deen. But once this religion has been explained to you, and many verses in Quran reflect towards this idea as well, that these people is stranded and left this religion after things had become clear to them. مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَتْهُمُ الْبَيِّنَةُ. That after bayyana had come to them, after it had been clarified to them, it was clear to them, the path was illuminated for them, and they knew this is the correct path. Then you leave this path. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing those individuals in this ayah. Otherwise, Islam is not forcing or enforcing this religion or the talimat and the doctrine of religion onto anyone else. The ayat is very clear, and that's why every single word of this ayat is critical. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Why? Because you were already on the path which would give you salvation. Now that you leave this path, it will only bring khusran, and it will only take you towards destruction. From this aspect, if we look at it, and we look at the lives of Masumeen, especially the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, and his role in perfecting this religion. Inshallah, we'll get to that towards the end or towards the mid part of our speech. But we see that every single one of us individually has this wajib upon us. There are at least 5 things that we can derive from this. Inshallah, we'll discuss that, bringing some of the fadail of Amir al-Mu'minan in the midst of it, and inshallah giving rabt towards the end with the masaib of this particular night only, and not going into the shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. But first thing that we take from this is that what is our duty towards this religion? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says nothing will be accepted except this, now you and I are on that path. This religion has come to us. We cannot deny that we were not given this religion. We cannot run away from it. There's no farar for any one of us, because we have already embraced and we have already seen this. And that's why the punishment that are there in Islam as far as apostates are concerned are very severe. So when we are on this path, is it enough, or are there some responsibilities that lie upon us as well? The first responsibility that lies upon us is this ma'rifat deen. You know, you are on this path. This deen has been introduced to you. What is your duty? First thing is to go ahead and recognize this religion, be cognizant about it, have proper understanding and the recognition of this religion, ponder over it, contemplate over it, things which are pertaining to you, which are wajibat upon you. I was saying it the other day that there are many things in our religion that you and I might not need to learn, because we will never come across those things. So for example, if you never have gone to Hajj, you don't really need to worry about the ahkam of Hajj, because you will never be coming into contact with those ahkam unless you go for Hajj. Inshallah, Allah gives opportunity to everyone. But nonetheless, if you haven't gone, and that's why we've seen those people who, when they embark on this journey, only then they start learning about the ahkamat of Hajj. Because it doesn't make sense for you to learn about it beforehand, before you even plan on going. Similarly, there are many other ahkam that exist in our doctrine which you might not be in interest of, which might not even be your worry in regards to, for example, many things upon which zakat is wajib. You and I are not dealing with those things, so therefore learning it might not be useful for us. Similarly, if an animal falls into a well, that to an animal which is najis, what do you have to do to make this water, the water that is in the well, to be pak? You and I do not need to know that, because we're not living in a time and an era where there's a well or we need to go ahead and clean that. So there are many things in this Islam, this religion, that you are not responsible to learn, but at the same time there are many things which you are held responsible and accountable, that you must go ahead and study, and you will be held accountable for those things. And this is where the ma'rifat of religion comes into play. That little ma'rifat that is needed for your survival and the survival of your family and the survival of the community, that is incumbent upon you, that is wajib upon you. So the first thing which is coming under the definition of this ayat as far as our duties towards this religions are, first and foremost is what? Recognition of this religion, ma'rifat of this deen. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, the first khutbah of Nahjul Balagha highlights this whole phenomena. Awwaluddin ma'rifah. That's what Imam says. Awwaluddin ma'rifah. The first and the foremost in religion is what? The ma'rifat of this religion. Because when we don't know, when we don't have the proper recognition, then we will not be able to take the second step, or the third step, or the fourth step, let alone living a whole life with it. So that's the first one. I don't want to dwell too much onto these points, as I have a long way to go. Second, after that you have recognized, inshallah we have all recognized our duties. We have learned our duties, we have recognized our duties. What is the second zimmedari, second responsibility that lies on each and every single one of our shoulders? That is taslim kamil on these ahkam deen. Now that you have learned, you know this is right, this is right, this is right, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. What is the second responsibility? Taslim kamil, complete submission. You cannot be among those fatu'minuna bi ba'd wa takfuruna bi ba'd. You cannot be among those who believe in some and then who do not believe on the others. They say, we'll take this much from Rasul because we like it, it is to our understanding, but that much it doesn't make a sense to us, so we're going to leave it. No. Taslim kamil means some complete submission towards these ahkam which are laid down in front of you. There are many examples in this regards as well, and I'm sure it is self-explanatory, so I won't go into too much of the details, wasting your time. But nonetheless, we cannot question why does this ahkam of fast, we have to break our fast when we're traveling. It is month of Ramadan, it is relevant to us to mention this masala, that why do we have to break our fast when we're traveling? We can fast. Today with the wasail and naqliya, the way means of transportation are so easy, so comfortable that we can fast while we're traveling. Why should we break our fast? Because we're worried during Ramadan we can fast, but after Ramadan who's going to go ahead and fast? So let's just keep on fasting. No, you cannot fast when you're traveling. No, we're not in any problem. I can travel across the globe and I can still continue on fasting. It will not be any hurdle upon me or harmful to me. No, this is where you become muti of your own aql and not muti of Mawla. Your aql has to remain muti and to be obedient towards Mawla and the ahkam that he has laid down, and not what your comfort level lies in. So taslim kamil in this regards to every single thing that you have now started practicing and adopted without chun or chera, without questioning, saying why it is like this, why it is like this. There's nothing wrong in asking the question. And again, I'll repeat myself and forgive me for that there are different types of whys that exist. One why is to learn. You want to learn something, but another place when you say why is because you're criticizing. Make sure that you stay away from criticizing the laws which are laid down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think it's in the time of our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wa salam. Khalifa of the time invites Imam and then makes him wait outside just to dishonor Imam. But honor and izzat in the hands of Allah. Nobody can dishonor or give you honor. As long as you're honorable in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't have to worry about anyone else dishonoring you. Imam waited, and then Khalifa bring him in, let him in. As soon as he walked in, there was this little fly that was bugging the Khalifa, right? It was just buzzing around his nose, and he was trying to brush it off and whatnot. And this is something which happened on purpose. It's not an accident or happened on, accidentally, no. Imam walks in and he sees Khalifa is already ticked off by something. And then right away he raises a question. Lima khuliqallahu dhabab. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create this fly? Why did he create this fly? Has no purpose but to bug us. That's why we have named it a bug, right? To bug us and nothing else. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create? So this is where you raise a question, you ask about why, because you want to learn the purpose of the creation of something. That's another story. You look at Nahjul Balagha, Amir al-Mu'mineen mentions the purpose of the creation of different creatures that walk between us, right? He talks about different animals. Quran touches upon different animals, the purpose and the reason behind their creation. Imam talks about the ants, Imam talks about camel, Imam talks about many other animals in Nahjul Balagha, explaining to us the purpose of their creation and how delicately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is created. But here the question was not to question, to learn something, to enlighten me why Allah has created. Here was criticizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why has He created it? That He's going to go ahead or this bug is going to go ahead and bug us and do nothing. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, when he looked at the question, he replied in the same fashion. He said, why did He create? So that it can make Jabbar, tyrant, rulers like you, He can bring their ghurur and bring their arrogance down to earth. That is the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Imam said, لِيُذِلَّ بِهِ الْجَبَابِرَةِ. The reason Allah has created it is لِيُذِلَّ بِهِ الْجَبَابِرَةِ. To give zillat, khari to those who are jababir, those who are tyrants such as you. Look at the strength that Imam is standing in front of this person who can do whatever he wants to, but Imam ﷺ is not leaving the path of haqq. So similarly is over here that taslim kamil when it comes to all of the ahkam that have been laid down in front of us. So you cannot question. Innamal mu'minuna alladhina, mu'mineen are only those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet, walam yartabu. And they do not doubt for a second as far as the command of Allah and the Prophet is concerned. This is the ayat of Quran. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. And then they do not have any doubt, none whatsoever, as far as the commands are concerned. How many of us have doubts in what we are doing? We are practicing many of these things, but we cannot come to conclusion as to why such thing is there. Because my aql is unable to comprehend that. Third thing, I'll move forward, is once you have ma'rifat of this religion, that is your zimmedari, that is your responsibility. Now you're taslim kamil, completely submissive towards this religion. Third thing is what? Tarweej wa takfir. To go ahead and propagate and to go ahead and get it around to those who do not have the knowledge of this religion. A lot of people say, we do not need more Muslims. We do not need more Shias. No. This propagation does not mean that you go ahead and start converting people. This propagation, you do it from the perspective of what? You do it from the perspective of min al-dhulumat ila nur. Bring these people out of darkness and show them the path of correct path. That's the only, if that is your only intention, you will see how people will come towards you. Your objective is not to go ahead and start converting Muslims. Many Muslims, the more we are, demographically, the more power we have. No, that has never been the case. Islam does not want to be spread on the basis of sword and or anything else. That is not our claim. Rather, go ahead and bring them out of this darkness that they're in and bring them towards light. And that should be your purpose of tarweej, to propagate this religion, and to takfir, to go ahead and increase the followers of this religion. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now that you have the ma'rifat, now you are taslim kamil, now that you have started propagating. Fourth is difa' az deen wa hifz azmat deen, to protect this religion and to protect the azmat and the sanctity of this religion. This is where you stand up when someone is defaming it, someone is desecrating it, someone is trying to destroy this religion. And you don't have to go outside of your sufuf to go ahead and look at those who are destroying. Within our own, we find people who are trying to distort the religion, trying to give a different face to this religion. You have to go ahead and combat these people. We see an incident which took place in the time of a person by the name of Hassan ibn Yusuf ibn Mutahhar. You'd be like, who's that person? Hassan ibn Yusuf ibn Mutahhar is known as Allama Hilli. No, everybody knows Allama Hilli, but you did not know Hassan ibn Yusuf ibn Mutahhar. That also goes down the lane as to how much awareness we have when it comes to the ulama of our religion. But nonetheless, Allama Hilli is a big name. And you all are aware of the incident that took place in the time of Allama Hilli with Sultan Khudabandi, right? That he walks into, I'll just say one sentence, that he walks into a mahfil which is filled with the followers of madhahib arba'ah. And then he walks out of that mahfil when everybody was the follower of madhhab tashayyu. Imagine the capability, imagine the ability and the knowledge that this person possesses, that he walks in when everybody was performing salat according to the madhhab arba'ah. When he walks out, everybody was performing the salat according to madhhab ahl bayt, madhhab tashayyu. He did not have Musa's asa. He did not have magical cane or anything that he hit upon them and they were all converted. Through brain, through intellect, through logic, he was able to convert the thinking of those who were present over there. If anyone needs the details of the whole incident, I can go ahead and mention that to you inshallah after the majlis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So wherever deen is being attacked, it is your responsibility to stand up and do the difa' of this deen. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, when you look at his life, filled with so many examples that are there for every single one of us, for every single day of our life. Amir al-Mu'mineen is Amir at the moment. Although he had said in Nahjul Balagha that go after someone else, but nonetheless, when this Khilafat al-Zahiri is there, a lot of people raise question, why did he stand off? Why did he say, I don't need this, go after someone else? Isn't this, standing off from your duty and your responsibility? No. He was already Imam. It's not that Imamat is being given to him in the year 36 after Hijrah. No. This is the Khilafat al-Zahiri that people are after. And Imam, the reason that he's saying go after someone else is because they want him to do things which he does not want to perform. You want to give this Khilafat to me and then you want me to follow the tradition of the Shaykhain, Khulafa. You want to take this responsibility and do the same thing that previous ones were doing? No. Take this Khilafat to someone else. That is the Khilafat Imam was saying, I don't want. But Imamat, he already possessed it, and he was already Imam of Muslimin and Mu'mineen. But nonetheless, one of the incidents that will bring you close to the internal and the personal life of Imam. And I'm sure many of you have heard this, that Imam, while he's the Khalifatul Muslimin, his present Khilafat, yet he has to look after every single person in his community. One day he sees this lady who's carrying this water skin on her back, and she's going home. I want the kids to pay attention towards this as well, to understand how Imam of the waqt, Imam of the time, is getting personal and personable to the Ra'aya, to his standard. That Imam sees this lady carrying this water skin, barely she's able to do so. Imam goes and gives a hand. He said, let me help you. She does not recognize who Imam is. Imam carries this water skin all the way to home, brings inside and sees that there are young children in the house that she had left alone. He said to her right away, where's your husband or someone who would take care of these things? She right away said one thing. She said, my husband was a soldier in the army of Ali. Ali sent him to combat and he died. My husband was a soldier, died under the command of Ali, and we are in this situation now. Imam goes ahead, performs whatever he could, leaves, and Imam himself is thinking that night that how I could be neglectful of one individual like this in my community. Imam is saying this to himself. And then he could not sleep out of ithrab all night long. Similar to the night that Imam is going through tonight, 19th of Ramadan. There is no sleep for Imam. There's this serenity in his heart, there's this accomplishment that he has, but at the same time, Imam is muftarib that night. That how could it be there's a person in my community who's suffering, yet I'm unaware of it. Next morning, Imam gets up before his time, gets some food, takes some flour, takes some meat and whatever, goes, knocks on the door. This lady, out of surprise, opened the door. Imam sees Imam standing there, says, you back again? He said, yes, I brought some food to give it to your children. That lady brings Imam in. Imam says, I can either cook for you or I can take care of the kids, or you go ahead and cook. She said, I'll cook better, you take care of the kids. And while the food was being served, Imam gives one morsel to the baby children and says, forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib. Forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib. Don't have any grudge for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib if he has done something to you. Imam is feeding. Lady from the neighbor comes and knocks on the door, says, and sees Amir al-Mu'mineen and says, Ya Allah, do you know who this person is? The lady says, no, he's a stranger who's been helping me for the past couple of nights. He said, this is Amir-e-Kainat. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen who's been helping you. Right away that lady says, forgive me for what I have said to you, or I have said that my husband died as in the command of Ali, and Ali had stranded us. No, by God, you have not stranded us. You have taken care of us. This is the character that Imam is setting standard for those who become the leaders of the community. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So you gotta do difa from religious sanctities that are there. And lastly, inshallah we'll end it with that, is the mubaraza, to fight against the tahrifat, or those things which have been deviated as far as this religion is concerned. Because there are a lot of these rusumat, there are a lot of these traditions that have made their way inside this religion, which have nothing to do with this religion. It ends up harming the religion more by tad'if of this religion, rather than making this religion to be anything progressive. So these are 5 things as far as the message was concerned tonight. What our duty is towards this ayah, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 85, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Let us be among those who are not, those who are in khusran mubin. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One of the favors that we see that Amir al-Mu'mineen, from the time of his birth, that the ayat of Quran which says, the first house in awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nas lalladhi bi Bakkata mubaraka. That the first house that was prescribed for the worship, and God assigned for the worship of mankind, is what? Is in Bakkah Mubarakah, in Makkatul Mukarramah. And we see that there's a difference between the two words, dar and bait. Those two are used for house, but there's a difference between the two. Dar is somewhere, dara yaduru, a person who is constantly traveling and he does not have one place which is specific. But then there's a bait for those who do baituta in the house. So we see there's a qaylula in the afternoon and there's baituta at night. Baituta is where you spend the night. Is spending the night, from where this word baituta has come about. This Kaaba was not referred to as Baytullah up until the time Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ spent a night or two over there after his birth. So let me put it in this way, that this house was not worthy of being worshipped towards in the direction until after the wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Similarly, Hazrat Adam, in regards to whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? He says, فَإِذَا صَوَّيْتُهُ نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. Hazrat Adam is not worthy of this sajda yet, up until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blows his soul into Adam. And now that he says, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, and all of the angels prostrated in front of Hazrat Adam ﷺ. Similarly, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala existed, but the ruh was absent up until the time Amir al-Mu'mineen was brought in and his wiladah takes place. Now it becomes from Ka'batullah, it becomes Qiblatullah. And it's not a favor if you want to look at it, and it's not something which is a matter of pride for Amir al-Mu'mineen, because if being born in the house of Allah was a matter of pride, then who was more worthy of being born? Rasulullah should have been born in this house because he is more worthy of this. But nonetheless, we see it is not that the Kaaba, by being born in the Kaaba, that Amir al-Mu'mineen is getting some sort of honor. I think it's the other way around, that Kaaba is getting some sort of honor with the wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen inside it. But you all know that this was actually the answer. Hal jaza'ul ahsani illa al-ahsan. That, oh Abu Talib, the ahsan that you did upon us, we are going to go ahead and repay you with this ahsan within this life, that you took care of our Rasul and you gave him shelter into your house, as the ayat of Quran talks about it. We will go ahead and provide the same shelter for your son Ali ibn Abi Talib. And that's why a Prophet held Amir al-Mu'mineen so close to himself, that to the extent that we read in the ahadith of Nabawiyah, when Rasulullah was one day sitting and the ashab were sitting over there as well, Amir al-Mu'mineen walks in, and as soon as Amir al-Mu'mineen walked in, Rasulullah got up. He hugged Amir al-Mu'mineen, Aqbala Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then he kissed him, and then he set him next to himself. And then when people saw this, a lot of people obviously over there could not bear to see this, but nonetheless, when they saw this, they asked Rasulullah as to why do you show such emotions towards Amir al-Mu'mineen? And this was the reply that Prophet said, Inna fika shabahan min Isa ibn Maryam. O Ali, you have this resemblance to Isa ibn Maryam. وَلَوْلَا أَن تَقُولَ فِيكَ طَوَائِفُ مِنْ أُمَّتِي مَا قَالَتِ النَّصَارَى. If it was not for the fear the people will associate the same things for you as they have associated with Isa ibn Maryam, I would have mentioned those fadail of yours, that wherever you walked by, people would pick up the sand from beneath your feet. And then he said, why? He was asked, why? Why do you like him so much? What is the purpose? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed the progeny of every Nabi into their wasi, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed me progeny through this man, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Why should I not show this compassion and mercy towards him? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Moving forward, I don't want to take too much of your time, that we know that there are many ayat that have been revealed as far as Amir al-Mu'mineen is concerned. A lot of people question, why do you say Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah? Why do you say Ashhadu anna Ali waliyullah? Our reply is because Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah is from Quran. Because it's in Quran we say Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah. He said, where do you see Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah in Quran? He said, have you not read that ayat of Quran which says, Innama waliyukumullah wa rasuluh walladhina amanu wa yuqimuna as-salat wa yutuna az-zakat wa hum raki'un. That those people who perform and who believe in Allah, they are your wali, the Rasul is your wali, Allah is your wali, and those who give zakat in the form when they were praying. And every single mufassir has written that it was none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib who had given this zakat in the form. But then, when people, there's kaj fahmi and there's little understanding, they will raise question. At one place you say that when an arrow was pierced through the leg of Ali and he was performing salat, people pulled that arrow out, he did not feel a thing. But when there's a beggar walking around in the masjid saying, is there anyone who can help me? Ali is going ahead and giving this sadaqah. So these two things do not add up. Where he's not feeling any pain when you're pulling this arrow out. Imagine an arrow pierced through your leg. That's one pain. But then to pull it out, that's another pain. Ali does not feel anything at that time. But he's able to hear a person, a beggar who's asking for zakat, who's asking for help. There's a difference between the two, brothers and sisters. How do we look at it? We look at it from this aspect, that when something comes as far as the haqq is concerned, there are two things, haqq and batil. For example, there's water. If I was to add some sand into this water, you would say this is wrong. Don't throw sand into water, you're contaminating the water. But if I was to add water on top of water, nobody will question me. Why? Because I'm not doing anything wrong. Water upon water is not going to contaminate that. Similarly over here, when Amir al-Mu'mineen did not pay attention to this arrow being pulled out because this was amre dunyavi, he was busy, focused on the jamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was focused towards al-haq, he was focused towards the truth. He did not feel anything from this worldly affairs. But when this person was asking for zakat and asking for sadaqah, which was also haq, therefore when Amir al-Mu'mineen's attention is towards this person, it has not deviated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather it went from haq to another haq. And therefore these two things are same and equal when Amir al-Mu'mineen goes out and gives this sadaqah while he's performing this salat as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And it also emphasizes to the extent as to how important this sadaqah is. How important giving this sadaqah is, because sadaqah removes the bala from you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say, give it to the beggars. He said, وَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. He's not saying, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ الْفُقَرَاءَ. Rather, he's saying, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. Who among you is the one who's going to go ahead and give qarz to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you not know Quran says, Allahu yaqbalu at-tawbah an ibadihi wa yakhudhu as-sadaqat. It is Allah who takes the tawbah and accepts the tawbah, and it is Allah who is the one who's taking these sadaqat. So it lands in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, then it lands into the hand of this faqir second. In this way, Imam is emphasizing the importance of giving sadaqah. We want to mention a point over here, is that whenever it comes to ulum, when you want to learn something, and you learn something from the worldly sciences, you learn it once and then you move forward. The things that you had learned in your school, you don't repeat them. You go into the college, you go into universities, and then when you are hired and you're at a job, now aside from maybe a couple of professions, you don't really need to go back to what you had studied. You've moved on and moved forward with that. So bahas ilmi needs to be mentioned only once, and you learn and you pick it up. But bahas akhlaqi has to be repeated over and over and over again. If I was to sit here and mention this to you, that something is wrong and haram and bad and bad and bad, it will not be redundant, and it would not be repeated, and it would not be extravagant. Why? Because masail akhlaqi need to be repeated over and over. Whereas the masail ilmi, if you just mention once and you move forward, there's nothing wrong with it. Why masail akhlaqi need to be mentioned over and over? If I was to sit here and say, looking at na-mahram is haram, looking at things which are wrong is haram, if I repeated this, there's nothing wrong with it. Why? Because from the other side, this waswas shaitani is pulling them towards looking this haram. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and do it. Because the other side, shaitan, is attacking you so many times, Masail akhlaqi needs to be repeated over and over again in order for us to understand. Masail ilmi you mention once and you move forward. Masail akhlaqi you need to repeat in order for it to have sarayat inside the heart of an individual. We see this religion that we began our discussion with, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا, that this religion is our responsibility. Which religion it is? It is a religion in regards to which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. 4 things are being mentioned over here if you just pay attention very quickly. 4 things are being mentioned. I'm sure you've heard this ayat many times, but you might not have looked at it from this aspect. Maybe some of you might have. But apologies before, mention that these 4 things, we need to focus on the ayat of Quran. Why? Because we look over Quran and we go over Quran as if it's another book. No, every single word requires proper attention towards it. You know why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are gaps and there's ayat after ayat? There's a short surah, Sab al-Mathani, known as Surah Fatiha. There's 7 ayat in it. Why there's gaps? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you stop. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, you stop. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you stop. All the way to the end. Ayat after ayat after ayat. There's gap in between. There's a reason behind it. If I was to come over here, when I started speaking, I was going at a slower pace. Not that I did not know how to speak before, but now that I'm into my speech, I'm going at a more fluent pace. Someone comes and stands over here and gives you announcements that tomorrow night we'll have majlis starting at this point, at this time, then we'll have Quran Khani, and then we'll have this, when we'll have Amal, we'll have all this, goes through the details. You say, wait, I forgot the time. I forgot the hour. I forgot the sequence. I forgot this. Can you repeat that? So whenever the person announces, he announces in gaps, in details, so that everybody can comprehend that. Similarly, ayat of Quran are revealed in this way. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ponder over it. Stop and think about it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Read, ponder, think about it. That's why you find these gaps in there. Similarly, this ayat, Al-Yawm Akmaltu Lakum Deenakum. 4 things are being mentioned. Ikmal Deen is being mentioned. The Deen is mukammal today. Wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati. Itmam ni'mat is being mentioned today. Wa raditu lakum al-Islam deena. And Islam is chosen as a religion for you. So where's the 4th thing? Well, 4th thing was before this ayat began. Al-Yawm ya'is al-ladhina kafaru min deenakum. Today is the day when kuffar are in complete despair. They have lost complete hope. They're mayus. They're mayus. Rasulullah in his life had many big occasions. There was Fath Makkah, which we mentioned last night. This ayat was not revealed then. There was Battle of Badr, which was a moral victory for Muslimin because they were weak. This ayat was not revealed. There were other battles such as Khaybar and Khandaq in which Islam reached heights. But this ayat was not revealed at that time. Prophet, Mab'uth bi Risalat, it is a big occasion. But the ayat is not revealed at that time. Because kuffar are still not mayus. Kuffar still have hope. Kuffar still believe they can do something. Today deen is not mukammal. Because there are many still things that need to be revealed. The itmam and ni'mat has not taken place because there are many more favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come about. And Islam has not been chosen as a religion yet. Why? Because there are many other things in Islam which are still lacking. Before it is completed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal this ayah. When does it happen? 18th of Zulhijjah, when the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib is being explained. Look at it from this aspect. 4 things are happening when Ali ibn Abi Talib is mentioned at the wasi and the wali of Allah and the wali and wasi of Rasul, that kuffar are in despair. They were thinking that when Rasul dies, nobody will take care of this religion. No, Ali is there now to go ahead and take care of this religion. They were in despair, but now they were not in despair, now they're in despair. They did not know that this deen was mukammal up until this point, up until the wilayat was announced. Now the ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are completed, the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are completed, and this